Guys, if you are sending emails for your business, I have some a workshop here for you today where we're going to help make sure you're getting the very best email deliverability possible by applying the technical records, SPF, DKIM, and DMARC records to your domain. Now, if you're on like a free Gmail or a free email of some kind, you won't have the opportunity to do this. And if you guys are using a free email for your business, I'm going to highly recommend that you upgrade, right? Get a paid domain through Workspace or through Outlook. Those are the two primary ones recommended for business. They have a great sort of standard reputation, but a free Gmail or free Outlook, those are automatically going to not have the same deliverability as a paid domain. Google and Yahoo and all these email service providers are really cracking down on the rules here, guys. They're making it where if your emails are not authenticated, which is what we're doing today, then you're going to be way more likely to have your email outright rejected, meaning it doesn't even get delivered at all, or go to spam. So we want to avoid those things, right? We want excellent deliverability. And so in today's workshop for you guys, we're going to set up those 3 technical records. And I'm also going to provide a couple of little bonus lessons up around best practices for email deliverability for long-term health, right? Cleaning lists, unsubscribe links, things like that. So we're going to cover some bonuses. But before we do that, we got to lay the foundation of your email deliverability, which is these technical records. So let's go ahead and get started. If you guys are following along when you're watching this video, the first thing you're going to want to do is open up your domain registrar. So whether you're in GoDaddy or Namecheap or Cloudflare or any of those, you're going to want to get that guy open and actually go to the domain that you're wanting to set up this record for. So I have Cloudflare. Cloudflare is one of the better providers here for security and firewalls and stuff like that. So very important for our organization, but it also can host your domains. So that's where I'll be showing today. But again, any domain registrar you're working in, like Namecheap or GoDaddy or something, they all have the very similar options. And so here we go. I'm going to get started right away. The first thing here, I have Cloudflare pulled up and I have my domain selected, which in this case is videolinks.com, vid-links.com. And so I've gone into the DNS records. So this is where you'll see certain types of records set up by default. Like if you're through GoDaddy or through Google or something, there'll be 1 or 2 records there already. So we're not worried about those unless there's already one of the 3 records we're talking about. If there's an existing SPF, DKIM, or DMARC, we want to make sure we don't conflict with those. And if you guys are uncertain of how to get to the DNS records of your domain host, I'm going to reference this guy a couple of times, right? Chat.com is just Chat GPT. You can go straight there and say, provide me instructions for how to get to my DNS records for X, right? GoDaddy, Namecheap, etc. So if you're trying to kind of struggle into how to get to this record part, it's relatively simple. It's usually just get to the domain and there's a button that says DNS, and that's going to take you here to where we can add these records. And there's 3 records. Look, it even says it right here, right? SPF, DMARC, DKIM. These are extremely important, guys. There's not an exact percentage that they're publishing anywhere, but it's very, very impactful and it's only going to get more strict. They're not going to come reduce these rules that they implemented because this is how they're combating the biggest problems with email, which is spam, right? Before anyone could just spin up 100 free Gmails and send a bunch of spam and damage a bunch of people. So this is how they fought against that. And this is how you can also fight against that by making sure your emails are delivered by showing that you're legitimate. So we're going to start with the SPF record. Right here in your DNS records, just click the add record button. It's going to be slightly different. Again, the format or the layout here is going to be a little bit different, but it's very, very similar where you're going to be seeing your existing DNS records and there's a button to add a new record. When you go to add a new record, these are all going to be the same type. So the type is you're going to see there's a CNAME, there's AAA, there's HTTPS, whatever. All of these guys are going to be TXT records. And in this case, there's a tool here that makes this really easy to do. So I'm just going to open up my browser and type in SPF record generator. This platform right here, MX Toolbox, is extremely useful. It's a very powerful tool that enables you to do a lot of analyzing and checking on your health and things like that. But it also has some very useful tools for generating records. So because I'm using vid-links.com as my domain, that's what I'm going to type in here, vid-links.com. And I'm going to say check SPF record. And now I can see right away that I don't have one, right? There's not a SPF record here. It would say SPF and it would say TXT. So I can see that that is not currently a record. And look, it says the same thing. There's no record created. And so this is this suggested record. And they can tell that we're using Cloudflare because again, it's a really smart tool. So here is the actual record I want to create. You can see there's three things. There's the type, there's the host, and then there's the value. And in your own DNS settings, you're going to find the same things, right? There's going to be a type, there's going to be a name, or sometimes it's not called a name, sometimes it's called something else, but it's the middle one. And then there's the last piece, which in this case is called content, but they're calling it value. So sometimes it's host, sometimes it's name, sometimes this last one is value or content, but it's always going to be the same structure where you have the type, the middle piece, and then the last part. And so now all we have to do is actually copy and paste these over. This one's pretty obvious. It's just the name of the domain itself. So there we go. And then the next one is the value. So we're going to copy the entire thing, all of that there from the V to the end with the all, copy, come back, paste that into the content. And depending on your system, auto is a default setting that usually connects pretty quickly. Some systems like GoDaddy, I think they don't, they have like a custom, and the lowest you can choose is 600 seconds, which is 10 minutes. Some allow you to choose something faster like Cloudflare here. Auto is a recommended setting by default if auto is available for you. Otherwise, if you don't see anything less than 10 minutes and custom is an option, then I recommend you select custom and type in 600 seconds because that's like the shortest default for a lot of these registrars. So it's either auto or something less than 10 minutes if it's available, or custom and 600 seconds. So I'm going to leave this one auto because it provides that. And this is going to be pretty quick, usually within minutes. And all this means is the time that it's taking for the record to become live, right? So if I create this record and then now I come back and check for the SPF record, it's going to say that it exists. So that's it. TXT, copy the middle value, copy the last value, and then now save. So that's it, guys, for the first record, SPF. This is, again, each one of these are extremely important. They all sort of have their own individual reasons. I won't need to go into the technicals of why or what each record does, but they're all three very important. So this is record number one, SPF. And let's just do a little bit pause here. Here we go. Okay, so that's record number one. Now let's go ahead and continue with record number two, which is going to be the DMARC. So what's really cool, again, we're in the same exact tool. This is MX Toolbox still, and you can see that button right there, DMARC record generator. And when I click over to that, it switches to SPF record generator. So this one platform gives you some really cool tools for generating both the DMARC and the SPF, and exactly the same steps. So I still have my video links in there. And in fact, clicking the button just swapped me straight over to the DMARC record, and it's already ready to go. But if you're doing, again, this from scratch, or you weren't in the previous window, you would just do the same thing, right? Type in DMARC record generator, and that's going to be MX Toolbox is one of the top ones. I usually never click on the ads, right? Sometimes they're useful, but I just don't click on the ads and you get retargeted or whatever. So just click on these guys. MX Toolbox is the one stop that can take care of both these things. So I typed in my domain, vidlinks.com again. I clicked check DMARC record because there is not a record published. It looks like you're hosting in Cloudflare. Again, it recognized that. Same exact steps as before, guys. 3 different values to post over, but we got to start with clicking add new record. The type again is TXT. That first value, you can see it's a little bit different this time. It includes the DMARC piece, not just the domain, and that goes in the center. And then the last thing here is going to be this record. Now, guys, I want to just talk a little bit about this record as well, because this section right here, RUWA, it has a mail to, and what this is doing is it's actually mailing your DMARC report. The DMARC report can help like see if someone's trying to spoof your email, if someone's trying to use your domain maliciously or something, or trying to pretend to be you. The DMARC record will send you a report of some, usually it's blank. Usually it's just letting you know, hey, there's a report. This one that it, generates automatically applies an email address here, which is their sort of standard email address, one of their email addresses. But instead, if you wanted this to email it directly to you, you would swap out this piece right here for one of your own emails. That way you will be sent the DMARC report. Again, it's not something that's usually a problem, but for some people it might be, right? If you're out doing things with your domain and people are trying to spoof you for whatever reason, it doesn't happen a lot to us. It hasn't happened to us, I should say. But it is a possibility, and that's what this little piece right here is unique for. And that's a mail to. You can see it's an email address, and you can actually replace one of your own email addresses there, and it will actually send you a report regularly that says this is your DMARC report, and usually it's blank. But again, if something's fishy is happening, you'll be privy to that. So I actually do recommend swapping out this email address with one of your own, just so you see that they're coming into you. And it's only this part right here. So after the mail to, after the semicolon or whatever, or colon, then you have this whole thing right here. That is going to be where your own email address will go. Same thing for that. So now we're going to copy the last part of the record here. For this one, I'm not too worried about it. I'm actually not going to replace my own email address there, and I'm just going to paste the record directly. But again, if I would recommend for you guys to typically do that, come in here, replace your own records. That way you just have full transparency on it. Same thing with the TTL, either auto 1 minute or something fewer, or if it doesn't have those, 600 seconds. Save. And now that next record, DMARC, is completed. So one more quick pause here. All right, so we have the first two records done. This last one is just a little bit trickier. So I want to make sure I cover this for you guys step by step. It starts in the same way, in that we're just going to go DKIM generator, not DMARC, not SPF, right? This is the third record, DKIM. And this one is it's an easy use to do. Maybe the first one's good too, but this is the one I've been using. Now, when you first get here, you're like, what the heck is this? There's not a drop down. There's nothing. And then DKIM, what is that? Right. And there is a drop down. There's some weird choices here. So we have no idea what this is by default. Right. And this is actually one of the only more complicated records, because you have to basically understand what these things are. The first part is fairly obvious again, right? It's vid-links.com. And then the DKIM selector is going to be, this is variable, actually. So what I recommend, again, if you're watching this video, it's fine. You're going to have the answers for you. But this is, again, guys, this resource is becoming indispensable for us. So here's what I would do. And this is just also an FYI as to anything you're confused about, right? I'm going to take a picture of this, and I'm just going to pop that into chat with a paste. And I'm going to say, what should I put for the, what is it called again? The DKIM selector, DKIM selector, and key length. And I'll tell you a little bit about both. So all modern email systems apparently prefer the 2048. So that's just the default. I've already done the research on this, guys. Gmail, Outlook, all mail service, all common, most popular email service provider technologies prefer a 2048 key length. So don't use the default of 124, use 2048. And then for the selector, here, let's just see. Boom. It's going to tell me the exact answer. So it can actually look at that image and say, oh, I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to set up a technical record for your thing. And this is a kind of variable answer. So it says, oh, well, you can put default, you can put mail, you can put something to do with your business or the date if you plan on rotating the keys. So what I've been doing is putting mail, because these are going to be dedicated for mail, right? These are dedicated email sender tools that we're using to send emails. So mail is a pretty standard one that we can use here. You can use DKIM1, or you can put something else there. This time recommended DKIM1. So there's not going to be a dramatic difference here at all between you using mail or DKIM1. But just to be aware that this is the type of answer. It's something they're actually having to type in. And then again, they've already told us the key length of 2048, because all other service providers require or prefer that 20. Some will accept the 1024, the 1024 one, but most of them want 2048. It's more secure. And again, these requirements, these expectations are not going to go away, right? The email service providers are just going to make it more strict and harder, and needing it to be more secure. So this is just showing you guys you can get an answer to basically anything now, right? If you have a question on something, unless it's so technical and specific. This one's kind of more general knowledge that is readily available. So anyway, there we go. We have the domain that we're adding. We have the selector and the key length that we're going to provide. So we go back to the record generator, and we'll use the one that they suggested this time, DKIM1. And you can see it is lowercase. So that's just do it exactly here. And now one other thing is if I actually go to tell this record, sometimes it'll give you a really long key. Don't copy it directly from ChatGPT because it's going to omit something. It's going to show this thing and there's going to be a copy button next to it and it acts like it's going to be the right record, but it's not. If you see something long, like a long string of what we're going to get in a second, if I click generate here, you can see there's a very long key. And if I take this screenshot and I throw it into chat and I say, what am I entering here? I'm so confused. Don't listen to that thing because it's going to give you this whole thing that you're supposed to enter, but it's going to omit the middle part of it because it just doesn't want to display that long of a string. So I'm going to show you exactly what to copy from here. But we saw this yesterday when we were doing this, preparing for this training, is if I throw this screenshot into chat and I say, hey, what part of this am I actually copying and pasting? It's going to tell you the right part and it's going to have a copy button, but it won't actually include this whole record. It's going to be missing a piece of it omitted in the middle because it tried to truncate it or shorten it. So instead of that, we're going to do exactly this. So here, add another new record. Oops, we're at TXT again. And then we're going to, oh, and then this is the other part. Let's make sure that we understand this. So we can actually take this. The one part that I want to make sure you guys don't do though is what I'll show right now. So I would say, okay, look at this record generated and tell me exactly what I'm supposed to copy and paste into my DNS records. And so again, even if you aren't watching this video, this is something you could even do on your own, right? With the power of AI. So it's going to tell us from here, you're going to copy and paste a, there you go. And this is what I was talking about, guys. Look, there's a copy button there. It acts like it's going to give you the thing, but you can see it's truncated for clarity where they put these 3 dots and 3 dots. So this is not the actual code that you want to copy, right? You need to copy it from the other place, but these are the ones that are copyable. So that one is, you can see there's nothing truncated, there's nothing missing, and that's what's going to go in that middle field. The first one was already given, right? That's TXT for all 3 of these records. And so now we know what to do for our second one. And we could even see that here in there, right? It's right there, DKIM domain key, boom. So it's the same thing, same place. You can see that's where it is. So we'll copy that one. We'll add that to the middle component. And now for this last one, again, don't copy it from here. It's been truncated, it's been shortened, and it's very misleading because there's a copy button there. And it's like copy and paste it. So if you're not fully paying attention, you might make this mistake. So don't do that. And not every domain registrar is going to be smart enough to realize that you've made some mistake and it's going to have a record there that doesn't work. So what it's telling you is to copy everything between the parentheses. So if we go back here, we can see the parentheses start here and end here. So we're going to copy everything. And those are actually quotations, so it's in between the parentheses, but actually the quotations need to be included as well. So there you go. It's a quotation to the ending of the quotation. This is the actual, so not the parentheses, don't include those. It's quotation to end with quotation. DKIM records need to begin and end with a quotation. So there we go. I've pasted that long record here. And again, make it auto, less than 10 minutes, custom 600 seconds, whatever is available to you, and save. Boom. So now we have all 3 DMARC, DKIM, and SPF records applied to our domain. And this is going to help us land in the inbox, avoid spam, avoid promotions, avoid having your email outright rejected. So these are all the first parts of setting up this. But guys, I have a bonus lesson for you, which is going to be a couple more things, a couple of other best practices for email list health, email deliverability, making sure that you guys continue to maintain a good reputation. So pause really quick.
Thanks.
And then one other piece here, guys, before we proceed to some of the bonus lessons is, again, I want to remind you not to have conflicting records. So when you come into your DNS, let's say you haven't done any of these steps yet, you can very quickly see at a glance what records are set up there correct already. So TXT records are what we're looking for. And if there is, you could see the value, DKIM, DMARC, or SPF. If those are already existing records in your domain, I don't want you to just blindly do this, right? Because if maybe you had somebody help configure your email to your CRM, or you had some support with this at some point. And if you're not certain of these records, I don't want to be the one to say, hey, go ahead, just delete all those and add these new ones, because I'm not in a position to know exactly what maybe your existing records may be. So what you might actually do, if you're not certain, what you could do is come into these records, look at the record like this. So now I'm looking at the whole record, and I can take a picture of this, just like we just did with the other exercises. Actually, let's try to open this guy up. So, okay, there we go. Just make sure the whole record is visible, because if the chat can't see it, it won't be able to give you feedback on it. So I can take a screenshot of this whole thing, and then I can pop it into chat, and I can say, does this, is this a record? Is this a DNS record? And is it set up correctly? So if you're uncertain, if you have an existing record and you're not certain what it is, or if it's set up the right way or anything like that, do this, right? Pop into chat, give it the screenshot, and ask anything that you're uncertain about. And it's going to give you probably the right answer, right? A pretty good chance it's going to give you the right answer. The only thing that you may need to provide here is additional context. For example, if you have your specific DNS records set up from another CRM, set up from other tool, set up from somewhere else, then you'll need to make sure that you've given context to that, to the chat. If you're going to ask a question, it needs full context, because it might say, hey, this doesn't look right. But then you're like, oh, well, I've actually authenticated this into SendGrid or Gmail or whatever. And then, so you need to give it context, right? It's just like a human. Like if you ask me a question and just showed me the screenshot, I might say, yeah, that looks right, but not realizing it's supposed to be, integrating with another piece of technology or something. So again, before you add any records, check your existing records. And if you're uncertain, go right into chat and ask it to confirm, does this record look right? But also provide it full context. So good. Okay. Guys, I'm going to move now to a couple of different pieces outside of these technical records. One of the biggest, most important things every single person needs to be doing is making sure that your list is clean, making sure that the emails you're trying to send to are valid, deliverable emails. Because what will happen is, say you do all this work, you get this domain perfectly configured with all your records, and you're like, all right, now I'm going to start sending some emails. And let's say you send 100 emails. And 3 of those emails, which is not bad, right? 3 of those emails are not good. They were changed. They were business emails. They don't work there anymore. They deleted it, right? Something may have happened to those 3 emails, especially if they're old. And now when you send your first 100 emails, you are at a 3% bounce rate, meaning 3% of those emails bounced. And that means it was not deliverable. It didn't get sent. And it was told, like, bam, you hit a wall, and the wall told you, hey, you can't go this way. And you made a mistake. And what that tells the email service providers is that you are maybe not such a good email sender, because you didn't clean your list. You're sending to bad emails. And it's like, well, what are you doing? Are you purchasing these lists from strangers? Are you scraping these emails from the internet? So I'm like, how did you get these emails? And why is it such a high percent? And the 3% doesn't seem like a lot, but it is, right? They want like less than 1% bounce rate, and less than 1% undeliverables, right? Low spam rates, less than 1% spam rates is the benchmark here. So while 3% in other contexts might not seem a big deal, in the world of email deliverability, it certainly is. And so when you guys are trying to send emails, before you, especially something in bulk, right? If you send one email and it bounces, that's fine amongst the hundreds of other emails you've sent. But if you're going to go send a campaign, a newsletter, a bulk email to all of your database, you absolutely need to make sure that that database is clean. And I'm going to show you guys a couple of resources here to make sure that that's done. One of my favorite tools actually finally is no longer on sale. AppSumo is an extremely valuable resource where they have what's called lifetime deals to software. So instead of paying monthly or annually or whatever for certain software applications, AppSumo offers lifetime deals to these. Some of these platforms are like legit platforms that are out there for people to purchase monthly and annually. They're a real business growing. Some of them, though, guys, are also brand new startups, and this is where they're launching, right? So some of the technology is being built as they're launching it, right? So some of it's not perfect, but the really cool thing about this is you can see reviews, real reviews from real people, all right here talking about it, conversations between the founders of this technology and the people that are using it. So lots of social validation. And also they offer refunds, like, look, refundable up to 60 days. So you can get this thing, one-time payment for lifetime, and then try it for a little while. You're like, hey, this didn't work. Plans are changing, whatever. Get your money back within 60 days. So because of those things, this is extremely powerful, but also extremely cost effective. I haven't even checked. Like if I go to Reune on Google, like if I go straight to their website, right? Where is how much does their stuff cost? I don't even know. It's probably a lot more expensive than through AppSumo. And I also get all those benefits. The reason I'm showing you guys Reune right now is because it does two things. One, it gives you the ability to check your emails, right? It gives you like 100K credits and you get those, but also gives you 500 credits a day. So that means 500 emails a day you can clean throughout all time. There was a previous one that I did here, email list validation. This tool was available for a long time on AppSumo, but it finally sold out. I like this one a lot because it was a inexpensive product and you could get a bunch of credits to clean emails. Like you just upload a list. There's going to be other tools like this. We're looking at Reune right now because of the real-time API. So this is a little bit technical. So actually, once we go implement this, I'll probably provide another training on it. But the reason we're looking at this one is because it does it in real time. So as people are coming in from your Facebook ads, from your Google ads, from your website forms, from whatever they're coming from, you're going to be able to check those emails in real time. And only the real valid emails get passed, right? Added to your system. So we just noticed this one the other day, and we're going to be looking at adding the API piece. But this is just one of those products that does what we're talking about, cleaning your list. This one's awesome because it does it in real time, but they're going to have other products here as well. We just have to go through the tools here. They come and they go, like zero bounce email verification. Perfect, right? Like that's exactly what this does. $89, and it gives you what? Let's see, how many credits? Okay, that one doesn't seem like such a great deal, actually. 24,000 credits. That's not quite enough. I've seen much better deals. So this one, maybe not so hot. So sometimes you'll have to vet these deals to see which one's better for you. Reune seems like a pretty good deal. I think it was $70. You get 100,000 credits and the real-time credits at 500 every day. There's another one, MailCheck, right? There's a lot of these guys that they come and go. As I mentioned, that email list validation tool was there for years, I believe, before they finally sold out. My point of this, guys, is sign up for AppSumo. It's free, right? You're on a newsletter. They tell you what deals come and go, and whatever's relevant for you, you can come get the list. This one I also like because it's highly reviewed. Look at that, almost 700 reviews, 5 tacos, which is their star thing. So this tool and the tool in general, what I don't recommend, guys, is coming to the Google and saying email or clean email list. Clean email list, because what you're going to find is a bunch of sponsored advertisements, right? And they're going to charge you like some penny per email, some like whatever fraction of a penny per email. So you want to clean 100,000, you're spending like $1,000 or something ridiculous, right? Something that's 10x the cost of what you would spend in one of these. So I don't want you guys to do that. Like, no offense to these great companies. I'm sure they're great, but when you can find something that's a commodity, right? It's a very simple thing. Doesn't have to be complex. There's no human support involved. You put a list in, it gives you the list out that's clean. It's very, very simple tech. So not something that I recommend you need a ton of support with or a ton of extra bells and whistles, right? I just need you to give me a clean list of tools or clean list of emails. So that's why I'm recommending these guys. There are other platforms, other technologies, guys, that may be emerging on here, but they're not going to hold a candle to some of the technology that's out there, right? Like some of these standing technologies like a Salesforce or HubSpot or Dubb or something like that, right? There's emerging technologies here, but there's also some things that are just so simple, like cleaning a list. So I don't want you guys to overpay for list cleaning. But what I do want you guys to have is clean lists, because this is going to ensure you have good deliverability for long-term health. Because again, all it takes is a few bad sends to tank your reputation, and you're no longer a good email sender. And the email service provider gods are like, hey, this guy's he's a lower tier email sender because he keeps getting a lot of bounces and things like that. So send his stuff to promotions, send his stuff to spam, just reject half of his emails because his reputation is not great. So this is another one of these pieces, guys, to avoid having damage to reputation. Now, one more piece. Let's see if this is available. Also referenced in my SendGrid article, guys, is email warm up, right? Email warm. Let's see if they offer this here right now. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. These guys are coming up at the top for this, but I don't know if any of them offer it. So we got to go in the list and see really quick. I'll also show you guys right now. This is one of those tools that I mentioned. Sometimes you don't want the up and comer. Sometimes you need a tool that you know works, that has a fantastic reputation. This is one of those tools. We actually have both. I've gotten an email warm-up tool from AppSumo, and it's used for some of our secondary, third, tertiary domains. But here, we use this guy, Warm-Up Inbox. It's not super cheap, right? It's monthly or annual purchase that you're going to do. But for us, it's a fantastic tool that warms up our emails. So what a good email warm-up tool does is it sends your emails to other emails that open it, and it makes you look like a fantastic email sender. So while we were just talking about sending a balanced email, sending emails to people that don't open them or don't click and don't respond, that hurts your reputation. A tool like Warm-Up Inbox does the opposite. That every email you send gets opened, gets clicked, gets responded to. So it makes you look like a fantastic email sender. So while you might have some marketing, some sales, some cold email stuff going on this side where your reputation is maybe suffering from that, from people marketing as junk or spam or not opening or clicking it, you'll have a tool, a warm-up tool on the opposite end, fixing that reputation, right? So I'm always going to recommend, guys, if you're starting a new campaign, like you just got a domain, you do not want to send emails from that right away. You absolutely need to warm that domain up for at least 2 weeks, probably more if you want higher, if you're going to send a higher volume or want more, better deliverability. The more it warms up, the better, right? Now, there is a point of not, it reaches a limit, right? It can't get beyond whatever 90% reputation or something. But what I was just showing you guys there is that's an example of one of those tools where, although we found a good deal for this on AppSumo, for some of our most important emails, we went with one of the, flagship products, one of the higher tier, a little bit more expensive, but a fantastic reputation. And we know the technology works very well. We also have some from AppSumo warming up our old domains. And actually, I don't see one on here right now that was like mail warm or warm up mail. Even this right here, I'm not seeing any warm up. So I don't think this is something that they offer, but I typed in warm up. So maybe one of these offers a warm up thing. But they would put that right there in the, what's it called? Right there in the caption or in the header, if that was something they offer, because they know how valuable that is. There might be one or two here that does that, right? I can't tell. We have to go through this list. So I do recommend starting there, right? Starting with AppSumo, because you can get some really great deals. And then if you're like us and you're like, no, absolutely, I have my budget can afford $15 or even $100 if you're sending high volume, and email is a critical part of your business infrastructure, which it all is for most, if not all of us. You may consider a product like Warm-Up Inbox. So don't spend some crazy. There's some tools out there that are like $60 a month for an email. That's ridiculous. And again, if you're uncertain, ask chat to do a quick comparison, right? Say what tools out there provide the best combination of functionality and pricing for email warm-up. Let's see if our flagship guy comes up on the list. I imagine it's going to be Warm-Up Inbox, Mail Warm, Mail Reach, a couple of those, but we'll see what they come up with. But guys, this piece of warming up your inbox, it's not something that is a one-time, right? There's Warm-Up Inbox, there's Warmbox AI, Mail Warm. So yeah, all the known guys in the space. And look, they give you this is the one I was talking about. $70 an inbox is 5 times the cost of these other ones, right? Now, if there's maybe something in there that, like this one instantly, maybe they offer some unlimited warm up and you can warm up 100 domains for $100, right? We'd have to look at that a little bit closer. Again, this one is $200 a month for how many though? Because if I have 25 emails I need to warm up, 25 by 15 is a lot more than $200. So your unique scenario will help you determine which warm up product you should be using. Again, recommending checking AppSumo because those deals come and go on there. But this is not a one-time thing, guys. You don't just get warm up and then use it for a little bit and then abandon it. If you're doing email marketing, if you're sending newsletters, if you're sending automations, you're sending campaigns, you're doing cold emailing, you should absolutely have your domains on a warm-up tool in perpetuity, because it's like fixing your credit score all the time, right? Oh, you missed a payment? No worries. We got your back. It's, if you imagine it as a credit score, but it's not, it's your email reputation. And so if you get some spam, you send 1,000 emails, nobody clicks on it. That means, boom, your click reputation's down. Meanwhile, your warm-up tool is going to send 100 a day, and it's going to get 100 clicks, 100 responses. So it's going to help counteract that negative reputation damage that can happen from what happens in email marketing. So again, this is not a one-time thing. It's a permanent fixture for your email marketing, guys. So in today's lesson, guys, we covered how to set up the technical records and then 2 bonus lessons for making sure your list is clean and making sure that your emails are warmed up. There's one final thing I'll talk about really quick. This is actually one of the things that Google, Yahoo, they did this big announcement, I think beginning of last year, and there was some guidelines, right? The technical records was one. Another one, though, was having unsubscribe in the header. So that means that when you get an email, smart email senders have a button right at the top that says unsubscribe at the very top of the message. Back in the day, we used to come hide the unsubscribe button somewhere in the bottom, somewhere lost, right? But what that does is that leads to way more spam reports. It also leads Google to not trusting you as an email sender now, because they're like, well, if you didn't listen to our recommendations, you didn't listen to the guidelines that we produced, then we don't trust you as much. You don't get an A+ on our scorecard, and we're going to send more of your emails to promotions, to junk, to spam, or not deliver them at all. So if you guys are sending anything in bulk or through automation, we're recommending to have 1-click unsubscribe in the header. Again, that's a Google recommendation, not a Dubb recommendation. But here inside of Dubb, we've enabled that, right? Right there under advanced options, you can enable 1-click unsubscribe for all of your campaigns. So there is that button automatically included, 1-click to unsubscribe in the top of your email campaigns. Some people are like, no, I want to fool them. I want to trick people into thinking this wasn't a bulk email. This wasn't a thing. That's a strategy, right? Some people do that. But what that can also lead to is lower deliverability because we are not following the Google guidelines. What it can also lead to is higher rates of spam and junk and phishing because people didn't easily find an unsubscribe link, and it's easier to click spam because it's right at the top, right? 3 dots, report spam, versus the unsubscribe is right there. That's another reason why they recommended that, because sorting through a long email to find an unsubscribe button was harder to do than 3 dots in spam. Spam hurts everybody, right? Even if you're a good email sender, all of a sudden your reputation's tanking because spam was much easier to do than the unsubscribe. So while some people are like, no, I don't want the unsubscribe because then people can unsubscribe. If people want to unsubscribe from your email, you don't want to send them emails because they don't want to receive them from you, right? So different schools of thought with that. A lot of, sort of sneaky cold email send people. They don't want to put any unsub. They want to make it look like the human fully sent the email without that stuff. But again, it was sent through automation, right? And it's also not CAN spam compliant. If you don't have unsubscribe instructions there, if you don't have the address, you are potentially in violation of CAN spam laws, which you don't want to be in as well. You get huge fines for that. Someone's having a bad day and they know about these laws, they can very easily report your email. All the evidence they need is right there, and then you could be fined. So we don't want to do that as well. Make sure you're CAN spam compliant. With Dubb, it's automatic, right? Where your stuff is going to be there automatically, CAN spam compliant with the unsubscribe and with the address in the body of it. So guys, that's everything for this bonus lesson for today. I'm going to go ahead and end this video now, and we'll jump into some questions.